Hello, in this video I just want to show how to set up Claude Code in Firebase Studio. So Claude Code is an agentic coding tool that uses Claude, and it's from Anthropic. And it's a command line tool, so you have to set it up inside of a terminal. But then once you set it up inside of a terminal, you just type in your prompts and kind of direct it and tell it what to do, and it goes off and does your programming tasks. So it's really quite good at that. So we're going to set it up in Firebase Studio and log into it because there's a couple of little gotchas for doing that. So I just want to make sure it works okay. So right now I'm logged into the site. I'm not really logged in, but I'm at the site idx.google.com, and this is the URL for Firebase Studio. And just Google Firebase Studio if you can't find it, and it will take you to this spot right here. So this is the front page for Firebase Studio. I usually use my private Gmail account because I just want to make sure that it always works with that one. This is the account that I have my Claude account for. So I just used the private one up here. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to make a new repo, a new workspace. So the things that you can do in Firebase Studio is you can create these different workspaces, and you can see a few of them over here in my list. And what these are is these are environments where you can do some coding and work on software, but you can also share that workspace with others. And if you come over here, there's a way to kind of share these. And so what that means is that if you share a workspace with somebody else, they can log into it and work on the code and kind of see what you're doing. And so it's a really great way to collaborate with someone else, kind of like a Google Doc, but kind of a more complicated version of sharing an environment where you do software development. So we're just going to create a new workspace this time just because we just want to see how to get Claude Code running is really the main thing we're doing here. So we're going to say new workspace down here. And it gives you a way to choose a template for the kind of environment that you want and the kind of code that you're writing, but we're not doing anything special. So I'm going to come down here to where it says miscellaneous, and I'm just going to click on the template that says empty workspace because I don't need anything special. And you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to just say my workspace. I probably already have something called that, but maybe it will tell me if I do. And now it goes about kind of creating the virtual environment, and this takes it a few minutes to set up. It's got to go through and create some things and called containers, and it makes these containers and it initializes them. So it takes a little while. Sometimes when it gets to that third step, it'll say that it's timing out, and it will ask if you want to go into recovery mode. And my experience has been just leave it and it will eventually work out and come up correctly. So all right, so when you first come in, what it does is it shows you the files that are in the project. And right now, there's a couple of initialization files in the project. We don't need those. And then there's this README. And you can go ahead and click the README closed. We're not going to need it for now. But you could put something in the README that describes what this project is about. And then also, too, it puts up a Gemini window. So you can actually use Gemini in IDX or in Firebase Studio. So there's a window that comes up here, and you can see it down here as well, too. And if you have like a quick question, you can ask Gemini about it. I don't know which model it's using. Looks like it's using the built-in model is probably 2.5 Flash. But, and it can see the code, it can see the files and kind of help you with it, but it's not really the best tool for doing your coding. It's not really set up yet to really help you. Eventually that might change, but so I usually just close the Gemini window. And so right now I've got nothing up here. So one thing we're going to do is install a couple of extensions that we can use. So go over to extensions, and click on that. And these are basically plugins to this environment. And this environment is kind of a copy of Visual Studio Code that's hosted on the web. So it's a code editor, and it has these extensions that you can install into it. Sometimes IDX or Firebase Studio will put up these little messages over here. You can usually just click them closed. There's very rarely anything that you need to do from those messages. I don't know why it always puts them up, but most of them are unnecessary for you to worry about. So over here for extensions, we do want to install a couple of things. We're going to install the Claude plugin extension. This is not the actual Claude code that we're going to install in a different way. This is the thing that helps Claude code run in this environment. So it has some nice kind of properties about it, but it's not the main version of the Claude code, but it's the kind of the plugin that goes with it. So you can say install, and if you hit install, then it will go ahead and install it. The other thing we're going to install is called Live Server. So if you search for Live Server, and you want the one that's got the almost 500,000 downloads, that's the one that's the standard tool here. And what Live Server is, you can go ahead and install it. And what it is it's a extension that when you get ready to preview an HTML page that you're building, it'll preview it for you. So we'll use it in a little bit. You can click close this window. It tells you about Live Server, and so here's an example of one of these little messages that pops up here, and I'm like, okay. And then if you come back over here, let's go back to these buttons over here. So these buttons are, each one of these does a different thing. This one over up here is called the hamburger menu, and it's got your regular kind of menus for it. And so we'll use those often. This thing right here is called the Explorer, and what it does when you click on it is it shows you your directory and your folders and your files that you have. So any files that you create, like if I create a file right here and I'm going to do some, it's going to be some code, like it's a Python file or an HTML file, it's going to be created over here in this little window. And if you click on these little buttons right here, you can see that that's a folder, and you can actually take the folder and kind of collapse it so you don't see anything inside of it. But if you want to see the stuff inside of it, you do like this. So this is called the File Explorer over here. And I usually leave this up because I click on the different files. And if you click on a file over here, it puts it up in a little editor window over here. And then over here, if you go to that, this is just a regular editor that you can edit things like that. So okay, so I'm going to click the README closed again, and it doesn't matter what the README says right now. And so the first thing we're going to do is install Claude. And so the way to do that is Claude is a tool that runs in the terminal, is what it's called. And so that means you have to have a terminal window. And a terminal window is where you just type in commands and things happen. So it's something that's used for the most part by programmers, but also just by anybody who wants to get a lot of work done on a computer might use a terminal window, just because it's sometimes easier to type in commands than it is to open a bunch of files and folders and navigate around that way. So we are going to use a terminal window to install and use Claude. We won't use it much for anything other than just installing Claude code, I meant. So if you go over here to the hamburger menu and you say terminal, and just say new terminal, and what it's going to do is pop up a little window down here. And so now you can kind of see what this terminal is about. If you go to the line down here, and you can now type in commands that will show you what files are in this folder. What this little notation means right here is you're in a folder called Workspace, and I can see it up here. It's the same folder that's this one right here. And so it's just another view of it. One of the commands you can issue when you're at the command line is ls, and that shows you what files or folders are in this directory. So if I say ls and hit return, I can see that this readme file right here is inside of this folder. So I could change the directories, and I could go, to a different directory, and I could navigate around the file system down here with various commands. And so I would say the other kind of command that is useful is cd is for change directory. And then there's one called print working directory, and these are all just kind of are called Unix commands that are useful if you're using a terminal. We're not going to need very many of them. I might write up a short list of ones that are useful just to navigate around. You want to be able to change directories, which is the same as changing folders and kind of listing the files in a directory or a folder. So that kind of thing. And these terminals are called bash terminals, and that's what this stuff is over here about. And terminal windows appear down at the bottom down here. So the first thing we're going to do is try to install Claude code. So I go over here and just search for Claude code, and it's going to take you probably to this page right here. And the command that you need in order to install it is this one right here. So standard installation, go here. This installs Claude code. And so we're going to click on that right there to get that. And then go back to your Firebase Studio, come down here to the terminal window. And I usually select Shift Control and then paste. And it kind of warns me of something over here that I can't paste the way I think I would be able to, but don't worry about that. If you can't get that to work, just right click and say paste and see if you can paste it in there. Once it's in there like that, you basically go to the end of it and hit return. And it goes off and installs Claude code. Okay, so let's give it a minute to do that. And it's success. It turns out that this is all good, and now it's installed. And so in order to actually run it, let's just say Claude, and that's all you need. Type in Claude and then hit return, and it's going to go and find that. And here it is. Okay, so the first thing it does is ask you to set what kind of mode you want the terminal to be in, and so you can go through here and you can see that those are the different colors you're going to have. I'm just going to stick with the default one and leave it there. And this is called the text style or the theme or whatever, and that's fine. And then on the next line, what it's done is, if I go back up here, I can see it a little better. No, I guess not. Okay, so now it's going to ask me to kind of log in, so that's okay. I kind of want to go back in a minute so I can see that. Okay, so I don't want it all the way up there. So let's come up here. Okay, so now it says, and what I'm doing up here is just kind of resizing this window so that whatever's up here gets smaller, and whatever's down here is the terminal. So the terminal is just down here. So the next thing it's going to do is log in to my Claude account to use Claude code, and that is what I want to do. So I don't want to go to the API, it turns out. So I just hit return. And now it pops up this weird kind of code here. And this code is going to allow me to log in. But this code doesn't work in Firebase Studio. So we have to do it a different way. So what I do is I come over here and I just click the X. Don't click any of this stuff down here. Just click the X. And then go back here. It turns out that this expression right here will work. So you can either say follow link and click on it, and I think that will work okay, or you can copy it like this. Let's try the follow link. Let's just try follow link and see if, no, that won't work because I don't want to go to this one. Although I think that one might actually now work. But let's copy it here and just right click and copy it if you can, and then come to a new browser tab and paste that in and hit return. And if it takes you back to the Claude website to log in, then you did the right thing. So this is what it has to look like. So say authorize, and then you get this code here that's going to allow you to log in. And so what you do is and if you don't get this, then you got to go back and copy that URL again. Go back over here, copy this URL, and then paste it into another tab. And then finally, when you get to this page, say copy code, and then go back to your Firebase. And what you need to do is copy that code right into there. And so you can either right click and say copy, or I say control shift paste to do it, or maybe even control V will do it. You can try various things. And if it doesn't work, just start the thing again, and until you get through and get logged in like this. So that's the code, and I want to go to the end of the code right here and just hit return, and now it's logged me in. So it says login successful, press enter to continue. So now it's going to do a couple of setup things. It's saying, okay, be careful. It's saying, do you want to do the normal setup? I do. Do you want to proceed? Yes. So normally here what you get is you get like a choice, and you can navigate through these choices by using the up and down arrow. So if you do want to just proceed, you can just hit return. But if you want to move to a different choice down here, you use the up or down arrows. But usually you want the first choice that it asks about. Okay, and so now we're up and running. So this is it. And let's see. It's telling you here that you can go ahead and do slash, and these are the commands you can type into Claude Code. And you can just say init, and it's going to go ahead and create a markdown file that describes the project. So at this point, what Claude is doing is it looks through all of the files in the folder to try to figure out what the project is about, and you can see everything it's doing. And this is why it's called agentic, because it's listing stuff, it's searching stuff, it's reading something, it's making a to-do list, and so it's doing quite a few things. It's not just doing one thing, it's doing a whole list of things. And finally, at the very end, it's going to come back and tell you what it's done, right? So, okay, so it's made a little to-do list for it to go through and do things, and finally, it's going to create a file called claude.md, and it's going to put it over here, I think, and that's going to be the thing that is the thing of the description of the project. So here's an example. So I could say down arrow if I didn't want to do this step and I wanted to actually tell Claude what to do differently. I'd go down here and select this 3, and then I'd hit enter. But for right now, I'm just going to say yes. Do you want to make this edit? I do. And it creates that claude.md file over here. And you can see what it looks like. Let's take a look at it. Right, so now it's all done. And when it's all done and it's in this kind of state where it's got the little cursor right there waiting for you to kind of type something in, it's all finished. So here it describes what it's done. It's created this claude.md file. We could go and look at it, see what it looks like. So it's just a file. It's like a text file. And here it's like put in all the stuff that it found in the project. And so this is just kind of the summary for Claude. The next time it runs, it's going to go and try and find that claude.md file and see what information is here. So let's give it something to do. So the really great thing about this tool is that you can just tell it what to do. You're just prompting it to do some software engineering. So can you make an index.html file for me? Yeah, that's it. Let's just see. So it goes off, and here you can actually see what it's doing, right? So it's going to create a little baby HTML file for us. And in this case, let's just so you see, if you don't want to okay what it's doing, you can come down here. You can okay it, and it won't ask you again anything. This is really fully agentic with permissions if you choose number 2 here. But you could say no, and Claude won't get offended, but you just want to tell it what you want to do. So I don't want that file. So say I want can you make it a counter app with a plus and minus button? Okay, so not just what it was doing, but can you make it kind of a counter app? I'm not sure what it was going to do, and I don't even know where it put the index.html. It looks like it hasn't made it yet. It should be over here. But okay, do you want to make it hasn't made the file yet, I think. So let's say yes, make that file. And now it's made it and put it over here. So we can click on it and see what it looks like. So there it is. There's our counter app. Looks like it's done some styles up at the top. It's got some code down here so that when you click on it, it increases the count, and we can actually take a look at what it looks like. So the way to do that is to come over here, and remember we installed this thing called Live Server. So if I come over here and hit Open with Live Server, just right click and say Open with Live Server. It's going to open up another window, and you can see it's kind of put our counter app in here. So this is great. Now, so leave this window open, and let's come back over here, and let's actually take a look at it. So it's like red and green, but let's ask it to change the colors. So can you, oh, what happened to my terminal? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Can you make the buttons yellow and blue? Okay, so let's see. So it reads that index.html, and it's probably going to make some changes to it. And you want to say, yes, I do want to make those changes. And so now it's changed, it says it's changed the button color, so I go over to here, and sure enough, it has. Okay, so there is something else we want to do as well, too. Remember, we installed that Claude plugin, and so let's go back to extensions and see where that wound up. So remember Claude. Where's the Claude code? Did we actually install that? Yes, we did install it. I'm a little confused that it's not showing up here. It's okay, but there should be a little Claude icon here somewhere after. Maybe it'll come back the next time we kind of do it. It doesn't, this extension doesn't really do much, but it just allows you the next time you come in to start Claude code by clicking on a little button instead. So I'm not going to worry about it for right now. So let's go back over here, and so now we have this file, and we've been previewing it over here in this window. Let's do one more change to it. So can you make the buttons twice as large? Okay, so here you can see what it's going to do. Usually when it puts up changes, the thing it's going to take out is in red, and the thing it's going to put in is in blue. And so here, actually I think it is using the plugin, because it's showing us the changes in up here. So okay, so I'm going to say yeah. And so let's see what it did. Yeah, so it made the buttons twice as big. So that's nice. Okay, so that's the basic setup. And once you come back to this one the next time, it should just allow you to go put up a terminal window, type in Claude, and it should just log you back in directly. So I'll show you that. So say I close this Claude window right here, and I close this window so I don't have anything running. And I go over here, the next time I come back, if I come in here to this project and I say new terminal, and I go down here, and this time if I just type Claude and hit return, it should just log me right back in, and I'm just right back at work. Yeah, so here it is, back to Claude code. And I don't know where the little plugin is that shows. If you get a little icon up here that shows the Claude icon, you can just click on that and it'll open up a terminal and start Claude directly. But you can always just open a terminal and type in Claude, and it'll start it up. Okay, so next time we'll come back and look at the business management benchmarks project and how to set up Claude in that one. So this is just a toy little project, but we want to be able to use Claude Code in the business management benchmarks web apps. So we'll see that next time.